staying with matters to the build-up to the 29th of May, Abahlali Basemjondolo Movement has confirmed that it's backing the economic freedom fighters in the next coming elections. The Sheikh Dwellers group says the endorsement is temporary. Let's discuss this with Abahlali Basemjondolo Movement General Secretary Thapelo Mohapi. Thapelo, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on. You were in Mayville in what is now commonly known by yourselves as a commemoration of Unfreedom Day. Let's talk about that. Since 2006, you've been having these. What is the significance of these gatherings?
Good evening, Thabo. Good evening to the viewers. Unfreedom Day is where we defied that we are free. For as long as we are living under inhuman conditions, for as long as we have no access to basic services such as toilets, such as water, in 30 years of democracy, we can never celebrate this fake freedom. And we can never fool ourselves any longer and go to stadiums when we know that the majority of this country are not free, and escort a few men and women who are free and tell us that we are free, which is fooling ourselves and them fooling us that there is freedom. So freedom to us means having basic services for the poor and marginalized in communities, means that if we continue to die in fires and floods in the Sheikh settlements, we can never say that we are free. So when the movement was formed in 2005, it was 10 years after freedom. So we recognize that this was freedom by then. Was rather fake freedom then because it did not achieve the interest of the poor and marginalized in this country, particularly us who are living in informal settlements.
So let's talk then about the series of discussions that you've been having. Were you having these series of discussions with one particular party, or were you having these discussions with other parties? And how did you come to the conclusion to say we're going to lend our votes to the EFF?
Thank you very much, Thabo, for that question, because this has been a very difficult question for people to understand. Well, in 2006, when the movement was formed, we had a campaign which was called No Land, No House, No Vote, which was boycotting the elections by then, to say that if we are not free in the informal settlements, if we are not free in the rural areas and as farm dwellers, we can never be voting ever again. And then in 2014, we reviewed this No Land, No House, No Vote campaign. And then we embark on saying that let's find a political party that will remove the ANC from power, because we've been in an abusive relationship with the ANC where we have no relationship, with no services being provided. Furthermore, the ANC has continued to assassinate our leaders. At that time, there were 14 of our leaders who were killed as a result of this fighting for their rights. And we said, let's embark on trying to find a way to remove the ANC in power. And we then decided to vote with the Democratic Alliance, which, by the way, after we've announced to take this tactical decision to vote for the Democratic Alliance, we, for the first time in post-apartheid era, the Democratic Alliance has never been the opposition, official opposition in KwaZulu-Natal. They became that. We gave them power. Unfortunately, they could not win the elections. And of course, again in 2024, we are saying that now we are actually using our tactical vote. In other words, we are lending our vote to the economic freedom fighters. We are not joining them. We are not going to campaign for them, but we are actually saying we are using the masses of the people on the ground in the informal settlement, in the rural areas, in the 4 provinces which we organize, to actually give them the votes so that we are removing the ANC. We have been abused by the ANC. I live in an informal settlement, which I am away and running away from as I speak to you right now, in the place where I am. I'm over the places again and again. If you have seen the Amnesty International call for my protection, it's a very difficult task for me at a personal level. But this has been a call by the movement at branch level, at General Assembly level, at leadership camps that took place to say how we can use our vote for the first time to advance the interest of the poor and marginalized, and not looking at the manifestos of political parties. So we have 20 minimum demands. One of them, of course, is land, and the second is decent housing. And of course, we've had other demands that we've had in those minimum demands. So we are saying how we can, as Abahlali Basemjondolo, use our vote collectively to advance the interest of the poor and marginalized, particularly those who are living in informal settlements.
So, I mean, at the time, around 2022, you would have had 150,000 membership, 81 branches in 4 provinces. It's a numbers game, they say. So has that situation improved? Because the context in 2024 could be particularly vastly different to what you would have seen in 2014. And in 2014, those numbers could have helped the DA secure the position of official opposition. You've got other parties that are coming to play now. You've got your MK party, you've got your Action SA, and so on and so forth that are coming to play. Do you think those numbers would still have that same kind of effect?
Well, Thabo, the Abahlali Basemjondolo, of course, has 120,000 members. Those are good in good standing. But by the mere fact that we are fighting for the poor and marginalized people in farm dwellers in the informal settlement in rural areas, we have allies that have said, we were waiting for you as Abahlali Basemjondolo to actually give us a direction as to what has happened. So the history, as I've put it, of taking a tactical vote in order to remove the ANC from power and get a new, fresh leadership has been there. But it has not been strong because the movement has, has not been, I mean, at that time it was still smaller. But now we have grown immensely. And besides membership-based, but we also have allies in the Western Cape, we have allies in Gauteng, we have allies everywhere else. We have environmentalists who have been also facing the same situation that we are facing, who are saying, therefore, it's time for a change. And they have come on board and said, well, we will take direction to the strongest social movement in the country. So besides the fact that we have a membership-based movement, that is going to lend our vote to the economic freedom fighters. But we also have allies who have members as well, who have members-based movements. I'm talking about civil society, NGOs, and so forth, whom we have engaged before this process had to take place, who would then say, well, we go in the direction of Abahlali. I'm talking about workers. Yeah. I'm not going to mention the trade unions but at this point in time. But there's workers, there's social community-based movements, there's environmentalists and so forth who were present, by the way, at the gatherings which we had in Nkanini that took this particular decision.
So, I mean, speaking of workers, and as you're drawing emphasis to that, why would you not lend your weight to an organization like the Labour Party, for example, which is a workers' movement?
Well, Thabo, we would really want to engage with them. We are not very far in engaging with them at this point in time. We have organizations like the Cry of the Excluded we are continuously engaging. So this is a process for us. We know that the decision has been made, but we are also engaging our partners in this particular instance to ensure that they are part of, because our main point is to have a new type of leadership. And of course, we need to remove the ANC in power because we have been abused for mostly. We've lost 25 activists. 14 of them have been assassinated, and the rest have been killed by police and the anti-land invasion units, law enforcement, and so forth. So we are saying that, therefore, it's time for us to change. And I think the workers are speaking the same language. It's a matter of us having to agree as to how we can get out of the situation that we are facing.
Part of the decisions that you have taken is that you are not going to become a political party. Now we've got a space for independence, for example, yourself, as Thapelo could have run and found a seat in Parliament. Do you think your voice could resonate more as an independent candidate in Parliament, or it would resonate more with the weight of the EFF?
Well, Thabo, that's an internal discussion. The part of the discussions, I mean, we're going to release a document about the discussions that have been taking place in the movement before we get to the point how we used this. We came to this particular decision in using this tactical decision, and part of it has been that we cannot all the time and every time ask people to vote for a certain political party when we ourselves have been on the ground and helping people in ensuring that they get basic services. And people have said that what you are saying, that it's time that we must contest elections. However, Thabo, I must say that I'm an activist. An activist is different from a politician. I'm not someone that's going to lie to the people and make empty promises. Mine is to actually ensure that people, the dignity of people living in sheds, living in farms, living in the rural areas is recognized, that we are recognized as human beings like anyone else, that we don't have to live in hiding like we are doing for fighting for our rights. And the system has a tendency of, changing one to become something else that they are not. And remaining grounded on the ground with the people helps you to always be with the people. So politics is something that we have not thought of because we want to be with the people all the time. So
let's pry a little bit into those internal discussions. Let's see if you will reveal much. Are we likely to see either yourself or the president of the movement having a seat in a legislature or in Parliament based on this particular, I don't say it's a deal, but your tactical move of giving your support to the EFF?
Thabo, maybe let's wait. The democratic processes that take place, because we're a democratic social movement, a grassroots social movement. So even this particular stance that was taken to actually use the tactical decision to vote for the economic freedom fighters was not our decision. We did not expect it. So anything is possible.
Let's talk about what would cause you to revoke that decision, because as you say, you did do this in 2014, coming out of your no land, no house, no vote position to say, okay, now we'll vote for a different political party to unseat the ANC. What is causing you today to say we want to revoke that vote, no longer for the DA?
Well, we are a grassroots movement that continuously have monthly general assemblies. We have general meetings in communities. So whatever comes to us as leaders is informed by what the people are saying on the ground. So that process of discussions is what informs the decision, in fact, the decision that we are taking right now. And therefore, any decision that is made in the movement is informed by the people on the ground, because we want to listen to the people on the underground. We have been for a long time not been listened to, and therefore we want the people who come to our movement and join our movement to actually feel at home, feel that their voices have been heard. And therefore, the decision that has been taken on a basis that people have said that we need to support a particular party.
Yeah.
I must say that, Thabo, that certain parties were invited. It was an open space on the 7th of April, and parties that honored that invitation, I can make it public right now. It's either IFP, the EFF, and of course the Rise Mzansi. Others did not come, and they presented to the masses, about 1,500 members who were in that hall. And of course, EFF emerged out of that. So my point is that whatever the General Assemblies, the grassroots people on the ground, what they would be saying is actually what the direction that we are going to take. So we are not going to revoke anything unless the people tell us to do so.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on, Thapelo Mohapi.